But my job could be worse. You know what I mean? I could always have worse jobs. You know, like, I think about pilots, for instance. You know, pilots, people will go, oh man, flying a plane must be dope. But they get paid like shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't get paid well. Now there's this new diversity push to get more diverse pilots. And I've never been on a plane going, you know, this turbulence wouldn't have happened if we had a Puerto Rican pilot. Like if, you know, we had a sister behind the wheel, things would be very different on this flight. You know what I mean?
No.
Never thought that once. But people are fighting for it. The life of a pilot, well, it's not a glamorous life. Most pilots become pilots because they ran out of other options. You know, it is one of those things where it's like, well, I graduated high school. That's kind of enough. If I take a few of these classes, I can make it happen. Most of these pilots are married. You know, they tried other jobs, but things just never panned out for them. You know, they've done the best they can with what they got. They married their high school sweetheart because she's a joy to be around. You know, Magdalena's a joy to be around. She's fantastic. Great wife. You know what I mean? Beautiful eyes. She was the prom queen. He wasn't the prom king. He was a runner-up, though. But she was so respectful, she refused to dance the prom king. And that's what made her marriage material. So he marries her. You know what I mean? That's what they do. They marry their high school sweethearts.
Justice for the prom king.
Justice for the prom king, though, because he should have gotten that dance. He campaigned hard.
His just due.
Just due. But as we've learned, justice is gray sometimes. Snyder reference. Anyway. But yeah, you know, Magdalena's a good person. You know what I mean? You know, they got a kid on the way. He's got to make some moves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he becomes a pilot. You know, he goes to the little school, this little program, becomes a pilot. I'm going to fly through the sky, you know, and maybe that'll inspire my kid to reach for something more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who knew his old man could fly, you know? Back in the day, everyone said that guy was never even going to finish college, but now he's flying a plane through the sky.
Yeah.
He's living the dream,
Pretty
kind of,
impressive.
you know?
Yeah, pretty impressive.
It's pretty great. His wife can say, my husband's a pilot. And, you know, women love that shit. It's like, wait, your husband does what? Yeah, he flies planes. Like, he's breaking through the sound barrier and shit, not necessarily on the plane, but on commercial flights. But, you know, he can lie and go, you know, sometimes they get into smaller planes because no one knows how aeronautics works.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No one knows that commercial pilots can't be jet fighters, too. You know what I mean? No one asks those kind of questions, so you can get those lies off all the time. But, you know, he becomes a pilot and he's away every now and then. You know what I mean? He's away for a bit, you know, but he's always focused on his family, man. He's always, I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing this to get the mileages so we can start going on vacations. You know what I mean? And now that I fly there, I can tell him everything's good. I have so many discounts from the airline. I have so many ways to get in through the TSA. We wouldn't have to get checked by TSA. I'm a fucking pilot.
No.
They trust me. You know what I mean? So he's providing a better life for his family. His kid's born. Kid's a little dim, they say. Not that smart, but he doesn't believe that. He just thinks the kid hates school and he's going to find his way eventually. Few years in, he starts realizing that the raises aren't really coming. You don't get paid well as a pilot. Apparently, you get paid really shitty wages. And the truth of the fact is, life of a pilot, you're constantly on the go, living out of hotel rooms, living out of a bag, you know what I mean? Bouncing from town to town. All states are like a blur to you. All airports are a blur to you. The only thing you look forward to is coming home and spending time with your family, hanging out with your wife, Magdalena. Hanging out with your kid, who's, you know, thinks you're the greatest dad in the world and stuff like that. He thinks you're so cool. Like, my dad flies planes. And you bring him a little toy plane every now and then. And he's like, oh, thanks, Dad. And he adds to his little collection of planes he's got going. He's really proud of you. You know, he really goes, my dad's a pilot. He goes to school and goes, my dad flies fucking planes. So what's your dad do? Work at the fucking Piggly Wiggly? Fuck your dad. That's how I think 8-year-olds talk, because that's how I spoke when I was 8 years old. But as the years go on, you know, it starts to wear on you, the jet lag after a while. You start realizing you're away from home a lot. You start getting lonely, you know. You spend a lot of your nights in bars because if you feel like if you drink hard enough, you'll get some sleep. Because sometimes, even when you have jet lag, you don't even get some sleep. I've had that before. I've been so tired from a flight, I couldn't sleep. Like ridiculous. I can only imagine what they go through. So you start hitting the booze a little bit. You start getting a crew of, stewardesses and pilots that you kind of like to hang out with. And soon they start putting you guys on the same rotation because it seems like these guys got good chemistry. So why not have them hang around each other and shit like that? Little by little, you and Magdalena are just having issues. You know what I mean? It's distant. You're not home all the time. You know what I mean? You're becoming kind of a stranger in your own home. And the sex is really boring now. Like, you've done all you can at this point. You're not really an adventurous couple. I mean, you've only been together your entire lives. Your first time was with each other. You don't know anybody else, you know what I mean? So you're hitting the sauce pretty hard, and you're like, man, when I come home, I don't feel the love anymore. My son stays in his room listening to his heavy metal music and shit, and my wife almost seems bored that I'm back. Because in a way, she's learned to live without you. She's learned to move on with her life. She has everyday things that she's got going on that you know nothing about because you're off gallivanting in the fucking skies and shit. Even though at first it was impressive, now the wear and tear is starting to happen. So just sitting there realizing your life at home is not getting any better, you meet some new people. You meet Joanne. Stewardess. You guys spend a lot of time together.
Mm-hmm.
Hanging out with Joanne, she too is having a hard time at home because her husband's an asshole. Constantly cheats, constantly hits her and shit. Not good lifestyle at all. Joanne goes on these flights to get away from home. That's really what it is. You know what I mean? Even though her husband has enough money to make sure she never has to work, this is her escape. And as you two, you realize, I like having Joanne. She understands me. You know what I mean? She understands what I'm going through. So you know what? Joanne's kind of like my work wife. I'm going to lean on her and she's going to lean on me and we're going to get through this life together. That's my bestie right there. You go home and things are just getting a little weird now. Dinner's not as good as it used to be. It's more frozen dinners now. She's not cooking the way she used to. She's not, up keeping the beauty as much anymore.
That's tough.
And then you realize you're tired when you get home, so you sleep most of the days you're home, so you don't even really see your family.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of fucking darkness, really.
Darkness. Darkness.
It's beginning the darkness. Oh, it sure is. So you start realizing, fuck, like, this can't be my life. So you start trying to do things on the weekends, but you realize no one's really enthused because they know you're going to fly out again tomorrow. And what's the point? They don't want to make memories with you anymore because you're a ghost in your own home. You start going on some more flights and you and Joanne start getting to know each other a little more. Her life's getting rough. You like Joanne because Joanne reads a lot of books. That's how she passes the time with all the flights. And she's a hardcore stewardess. Any flight she can take, she fucking takes. You know what I mean? She's got to get away from Bill. Bill's an asshole. Got to get away from Bill, right? So you start hanging out with Joanne, and then one night, you're having a couple of drinks. You've been leaning on each other all this time. And then you decide to lean in. You lean in, and you have the forbidden kiss.
Dang, how could you? What's
this pilot's name? His name is Dan. Let's call him Dan.
Dan, okay.
How could you, Dan?
Dan, how could you, man?
But the thing is, that's what Dan's going through, man. He's feeling, exhausted. He's feeling like he's not loved at home anymore. And Joanne's the only person that really understands him. You know what I mean? So they decide, you know what? Listen, we can't talk about this kiss anymore. Like, we can't do this. Like, let's never talk about it. Let's just continue on. We shouldn't have done it. It's a mistake. So he goes home, and that's all he's thinking about is the kiss. You know what I mean? Because he hasn't felt this spark in a long fucking time. And his wife knows something's up. You know what I mean? He's a little weird right now. He's always on his phone because he's texting Joanne about just everyday stuff, quote unquote, but he's really building a rapport. You know what I mean? So she starts feeling a little weird. The son, he's in high school now. You know what I mean? And he's getting into the rough crowd. A crowd he shouldn't be hanging out with. But then again, his dad's never home and his mom can't keep control of him. So he's hanging out with all the bad kids. He's hanging out with this one kid, Stevie. Stevie's a real pain in the ass. Stevie, his parents are in and out of rehab. You know what I mean? So he kind of runs his own life, really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's doing whatever the fuck he wants. So Stevie's kind of like cool. He's been left back a few times. So he's in high school, but he's technically 19. You know what I mean? Technically. because no one really knows what his real age is. It's a little fucking weird. So anyway, Stevie has dreams of, being in a band, but he's fucking always getting high and shit like that. Always like blowing up people's mailboxes and shit. But the son, Kyle, he loves Stevie. He thinks Stevie's the shit. Stevie has the balls he'll never fucking have.
Yeah.
He's like, Stevie once told his dad to go fuck himself. And that's what Kyle wants to do every time his dad comes home from the fucking goddamn airlines. Because it's like, you're not here enough and shit. But he doesn't have the balls to do that. That's just not what Kyle does. So Dan's just sitting there watching his whole life crumble around him. And Magdalena's starting to catch on.
Yeah.
She's starting to realize this guy's not happy anymore. And she's starting to feel a little unloved. Things aren't necessarily going well for her either. Mm-hmm. She was the prom queen, and now she's just the housewife. Bored. The wine starts around noon. It's not starting at 6 anymore. It's starting at noon because there's nothing to do in this town. Ain't shit going on.
Yeah.
She wants to go back to work, but every time she has a conversation with Dan, it's kind of a huge fucking argument. You know what I mean? What, am I not man enough to hold down the household, and shit like that? So Maggie's like, well, fuck it. I won't work then. I'll just be a fucking slave to fucking wine. That's it. So he goes out again, and she starts feeling a little lonely. But guess who comes over? Looking for Kyle. Stevie. And Stevie's cool. She knows about Stevie because, Kyle talks about him all the time. His love of music, his dreams of being a rock star and shit like that. He's a free spirit. He still has time. He still has the energy to really go there. You know what I mean? So she kind of lets Stevie stay over a few nights to hang out with Kyle and stuff like that. Loves Stevie. Thinks the world of Stevie. But while this is going on, Dan's back on the trail, flying around in planes. You know what I mean? Just whoop, 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 having a good old time. Now he's gone from alcohol to drugs because he's got to numb the pain. He's got to numb the tiredness. He's got to numb the loneliness. And guess who's there? Joanne. And one night, they decide, fuck it. No one gets us but us. So we're going to get us, if you know what I mean. Yes, all right? Yes. So Dan and Joanne are getting it in, my friend. Oh, they're getting it in. It's like all the time. They wake up feeling guilty, but that guilt only lasts a few seconds because they're back at it. He secured the bag.
Dan secured the bag. Much props to brother Dan.
Yeah, Dan not only has a mistress now, he has a wife that's crumbling at home and a son who thinks he's an asshole. So he's got the great pilot life, you know what I mean? So, but back at home, Magdalena has a few drinks one night. Oh. Stevie happens to be going to the bathroom one night as he's staying over, hanging out with Kyle. And let's just say she makes a move on Stevie. Oh. And her and Stevie are now getting it on.
Oh, she down bad. She down bad.
She's down bad.
She's down tremendous.
Yeah.
Quarter of the earth. That's horrible.
Oh, yeah. Kyle's sound asleep, has no idea what's happening. You know what I mean? Yeah. Sound asleep so he can't hear the noise of Stevie banging his mom. Has no idea what's going on there. And Dan comes home, not to catch them or anything like that. Dan comes home on his regular time and realizes she's got a little bit more pep in her step. Son's a little different. She's dressing prettier. She's, excited about shit. What's been going on she has to be excited about. But then again, she's noticing Son's a little different with Dan too. He's a little more friskier. In the bedroom, he's a little bit more adventurous and stuff like that. Both of them know something's going on, but they both know if they say something, it's game fucking over. You know what I mean? You can't ruin what was a perfect marriage. You know what I mean? They were high school sweethearts. They were destined to be. You know what I mean? So Dan doesn't think anything of it. You know what I mean? He's all right. Maybe she's just happy to see me. You know what I mean? Maybe she's just, realizing we need a little pep in our step. She doesn't know that I've cheated on her with Joanne. So there's nothing to say. Everything's good. I have Joanne on the road. I have my wife at home. I have it all. But then, things take a little bit of a turn. Because sometimes Joanne's not always on those flights with you. So sometimes you're just by yourself. Lonely again. On pills. Drinking. Trying to fill the hole. You go to that normal, dirty ass Ramada Inn that they rent out for the pilots all the time. You see a concierge by the desk. She's 23 years old. And you think to yourself, man, if I was a little younger, I could have got that. I could have been on top of that. But then she realized, wait a minute, I'm a pilot. I do an exciting job. How about I invite her for a drink one night at the hotel bar? And you do, and she tells you, well, I get off at 8. But the thing is, she got off a little later than that, if you know what I mean, after a few drinks. So now you've got 2 mistresses and a wife that's crumbling at home, who's also banging a teenager. Let's point that out. So now you think you got it all. Everything's working out for you. No one's finding out about anything. Until the concierge decides to go with somebody younger at work. One of the bus boys. And you feel a little tired about it. You're like, wait a minute. Every time I'm in Biloxi, I text you. Why is that not good enough for you? Why do you not want to be with me anymore? Dan realizes he's getting a little too close. He's got to let that one go. Even though it hurts his pride as a man to be outranked by a younger gentleman in the field. But he's still got Joanne. Joanne's back in the picture. You know what I mean? One night they're having some drinks. And Joanne says, you know, I'm thinking about leaving my husband. And she always says this, you know what I mean? It always starts this way. I should leave my wife. You should leave your husband. Blah, blah. They're never going to do it until one day Joanne says, I actually saw a lawyer about it. Red flag right there, Dan. She's got ideas. Don't know if you have the same ideas as she has. So now you realize, fuck, this might get real. And that night, you get a little too drunk, and you don't remember if you used the condom or not.
Oh, down.
Here we go. And guess what? While that's happening, Magdalena might have forgotten to use one too.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
So guess what? Dan comes home with the utmost pressure of, oh my God, if Joanne is pregnant, my life is fucking over. Everything fucking dies today. And Kyle's starting to figure out that Stevie's banging his mom. But you want to hear some sick shit about it? Kyle doesn't mind because Kyle wants Stevie as a dad.
Oh.
Kyle thinks Stevie's fucking dope. Replace my dad. My dad doesn't want to do rock band stuff with me. My dad doesn't want to do shit but give me toy fucking planes. I'm 16 years old. I am over that shit, old man. Your pilot job is garbage. You barely have any money. I can't even go to college on the salary you have.
This family's down horrendous right now.
Down horrendous,
oh,
dog.
No.
And guess what? Dad comes home. Maggie's sitting there cooking dinner, and they both feel guilty because they both know something's not right. And that night, they try to get it on, but guess what? It's just not working. It's just not getting together, right? So they lay in bed staring at the ceiling. And Dan is like, Maggie, what's wrong? She's like, there's something I have to tell you. And he's like, what? She's like, I've been having an affair. And Dan is gutted because what he didn't think would happen has happened. He's lost Maggie, the rock of his entire life. But he wasn't thinking about that when he was banging Joanne now, was he?
He was not.
He was not. So then he just lays there. And of course, not wanting to be the guilty one, becomes really self-righteous about it and goes, how could you do this to me? He's like, who is it with? Who you been banging? And she's like, I've been banging Stevie. Now, here's the problem, right? He's a 2-time adulteress.
No.
She's an adulteress and technically a predator.
Yeah.
I don't know if it balances out. I don't know who's more guilty.
This is a hard one.
This is a hard
She
one.
about to catch a case depending on what state she in, low key.
Exactly. And he's about to catch a baby with a case of child support if he's not careful. You know what I mean?
Both of them got to go to court.
Both of them got to go to court.
Low key.
So then she just lays it out for him like, listen, I'm not happy here anymore. And he's like, what do you mean you're not happy anymore? She's like, you're always away. You're always flying around. I need a husband who can be here with me at home. You got to transition to do other things, sweetheart. There has to be something you can do at the airline that keeps you home. And he's like, fuck that. Because here's the thing. Flying has become his life now. He loves that shit because he used to be drunk, high, banging Joanne, doing whatever he wants. He's free. But when he's at home, he's in prison. It's fucking, his mind is now warped. He tells her, I'm not going to give up piloting. And he's leaving the next morning. He tells her, you know what? When I come back, we'll talk about this. And she says, you know what? When you come back, there won't be anything here.
Oh, dang. The story's getting heavy, yo.
And then, you know what? He says, I cheated on you twice.
Oh.
Whew.
I ain't even capping. This story's getting crazy. I'm not even capping. This is legit, yo.
Now it's all on the table, baby.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for this. Let's go.
And he's determined to tell her, when I come back, we will figure this out. And she's like, motherfucker, there is nothing to figure out. You cheated. I cheated. This marriage is fucking over. It's done. I don't want to be with you anymore. I'm going to my mother's. And he tells her, bitch, if you take my kid from me, I swear to fucking God, I'll ruin your fucking life. And she's like, my life's already fucking ruined. I met you.
Oh my God.
Dark shit's going on in this household. And Kyle comes out going, I knew you were a scumbag, Dad, but totally disregards the fact that his mom's banging Stevie because he loves Stevie so much.
Yeah.
That's another subplot of his whole situation. I think Kyle's in love with Stevie. I could be wrong.
Oh,
But that's a
man.
whole different story in itself, which is totally fine. But
Yeah.
Kyle's got to come out the closet at some point because Kyle feels like he's been abandoned by his dad, so therefore he looks for the strength in other men. And he's almost found the strength in other men, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he's so broken on the inside. But on the same, he's also finding himself through music. So he's writing this beautiful poetry about how he's coming into himself and he's learning what he truly is, a gay man. Good for Kyle, because he's the only fucking balanced one in his entire family.
Yeah.
The only one. Anyway, Dan goes. He flies, and he's miserable. Miserable. He decides to be alone. He doesn't even want Joanne's company. He just wants to be alone. And he's at the hotel bar again, drinking by himself. And Joanne shows up. And she's like, I gotta tell you something. I'm pregnant. So Dan just nods, finishes his drink, and goes to his room. Stays up the whole night, snorting coke, doing opioids. Gotta numb the pain, bro. Gotta numb the pain. Next day, he gets behind the wheel of a plane. Joanne asks him, everything all right with you? Like, about what we talked about last night? She's like, listen, like, I know it's, not the right thing. She's like, but maybe, you leave your wife, I leave my husband, and we start a flying school. And we have a family. Me, you, and this kid. We can start over with each other. Dan just nods like, yeah, guess, fucking, yeah, whatever. Let's talk about it after the flight. You know what I mean? I don't want to talk about this shit. She's like, okay, just talk to you later. He's like, all right, good. Talk to me fucking later. Get the fuck away from me. She gets away from him. Now Dan's flying the plane. His co-pilot's just going on and on about his fucking life. And his life's fucking boring. His life's going great. All right, him and his family just came back from Disney World. They're having a grand old fucking time. And Dan just starts slowly gunning the engines a little faster. Faster than he should. He takes the wheel and starts tilting it a little down. Right? And his co-pilot's like, oh, maybe he's avoiding the clouds, but he's going a little too down. And Dan is just facing down his life. He's lost his first wife because she's banging a 19-year-old. My son hates my guts. Joanne's pregnant with a baby I don't want, and I don't think I can convince her to get an abortion. I lost the concierge girl, who was the best lay I ever had in my life. It's game over for me now. And in the midst of that, he stops and he turns the wheel back up. You want to know why, John?
Why?
Because he is a pioneer. He is a trailblazer. He's a diversity hire. He is the first Puerto Rican to fly from Tallahassee to Anchorage, Alaska. And he's going to show these honkies that he can handle alcoholism, infidelity, a crumbling marriage, and drug addiction just as much as they can. He fought for the civil rights of pilots. He fought for the right to be a pilot in a mostly white field. And he's going to prove them wrong. That we got this stuff. So, salute to all the people who want to be those pilots. All the black, brown, whatever gender you are people who are fighting to have the right to have a life like that. I salute you. That is a cause worth fighting for. Martin Luther King would be so proud of Dan and Nat's story. Because not only did he let his life fall apart for the cause, he stayed true to the cause.
Oh, I thought you were going to go somewhere else with that.
Oh, that
He cheated on his wife.
He cheated on his wife too, yeah. Well, good point. Maybe Martin Luther King really empathizes with him there, you know what I mean? Anyways. But yeah.
We like Martin Luther King, don't we?
We love Martin Luther King. We love Martin Luther King. We got a preference that. We love Martin Luther King.
Yeah, let's
okay?
get that right. Yeah.
But he did what he did, all right? He double dipped, all right? It is what it is.
Look, it happened. We had a dream.
It was in the movie Selma.
Yeah.
Have to acknowledge it. If Ava DuVernay said it happened. That's the way I see it. But no. That's what I think about when I think about these diverse pilots. That's the life they're fighting for. So congratulations and salute to them. Pioneers of the sky. May you fly high and may you be high. May you be alcoholic while doing it. Good luck to your spouses, because that marriage is fucking over. And I meant to hit the mic because I want people to feel the salute. Guess who's running for California governor?